Thank,
Okay.
thank you, sir. Thank you for recording the video.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is, okay, you need to search. You come in your taskbar here and you search for, you sign in to www.autodex.com. Okay, I think it's Autodex, okay, like that. Okay, now you make sure you are in their website. Okay, this is their website. This is their original, their main website. So you make sure that you are at this page. Well, I'm currently signed in, so I will just sign out so that I can do that all over again. So you make sure that you are in this page. And if you don't have an account, you won't be able to sign in. It's free, okay? It's free for you to create an account. You don't need to, as long as you have an email address, like a Gmail, you can create an account. Of course, you have to go through the verification process and all that. Is there anyone in here who does not know how to create a Gmail account or an email account? Or is there anyone in here who does not have any email account, be it Gmail, Yahoo Mail, or whatever mail? Anybody? Because you need to have an account before you can take this step. Sam, your hand is raised. It means you don't have an email account.
No, sir. No, sir. I have an email account.
Okay, good. So what you do is you come here. When you are on this page, so after typing www.autodex.com, is going to bring you to their, this is their home page here. So you click on sign in. Well, these are my credentials. So since I can sign in since I already have an account, but since you don't have an account, you have to create an account. So you come down here, you click on create account, and it's going to prompt you. You just follow this procedure, okay? Fill in your first name, last name, email address, confirm. Then you put your password. You create the account. It's going to tell you to do some confirmations and all. As a matter of fact, let me just create another account for Hilotech Construction. So first name here, I'm going to put in Hilotech. Last name, I'm going to put construction, like that. And for the email, I use the company email, Hilotech Construction at gmail.com, like that. And it's asking that we should, okay, so you see it has put a tick there. So if you didn't have an email, it won't verify. So that tick means that this account is legit and actually there's a Gmail existing, like that. So I'll just copy and paste here to verify again. Now it's asking for a password. You can always go for this suggest strong password. So it gives you a very powerful password, okay? Yeah. And of course, you agree to the terms and you create your account. Now, okay, so account has been created. You need to check now your email to make sure that you verify now. So click on done. It's redirecting you back now to the page. Okay, so look at this. Now this is my new account, HC. This HC stands for Hilotech Construction. Okay, which is what we are just creating now. So I can go here now. Okay, currently I am already signed in. Now, they have recently updated their services. They've recently updated their the page, because actually there was a student section which you can just go in there and you have access to all the softwares. Now, it doesn't end here. There is a way that you must prove that you are a student in order to have access to this software, because actually I've just created an account with them, okay? So if I was to go under like maybe their products, let's just say view of products. Okay, look here. These are all the products of Autodex. You can see from the Autocad to Autocad LT to now look at the prices of these softwares. This is really exorbitant. This is $1,775. I mean, if you want to convert that to francs, this should be going to millions, right? And you pay this per year. It's not like you pay it and they just give you the software and you can use it forever. No, every year you have to be renewing the license, which means you pay this amount every year. So this is really much. Of course, you have AutoCAD LT2. AutoCAD LT is just a little customized version, which does not really have a lot of details and all that. But look at the amount that you still have here. It's still too much. Look at Revit. This is almost $3,000. It's a lot. So that is why they decided to create this student version so that you can access it, even though it is not really that much, but at least you can access it, and then you can also maybe get to like learn with it for the limited time that they will give you as a student. Okay. And then you can come here. We're still under their website to their learning. Actually, there are some trainings and stuff which you can undertake here. Most of them are paid training and stuff like that. And they are also still very expensive. Okay. So now in order for you to create a student account, I'm just going to open a new tab back. I'm currently in a new tab. You have to come in here and you type Autodesk student. Okay. Now, okay, Autodesk student sign up. This is what we want. It's going to redirect you to this page. Okay. You click on this first. Now you make sure that you are seeing autodesk.com in here. Okay. To be sure that you're actually working in their domain, because there are a lot of fraudsters out there that can just make you, at the end of the day, feed in your sensitive information of which they can hack your account. So be sure that you have www.autodesk.com in here. Okay. Now you click this. It's going to open up this new page now, which is going to guide you through the process of signing up as a student. Okay. And when you successfully do this, you have access to all their programs as a student, and then, but also for a limited time. Okay. So you just click on get started here. And of course, it's going to prompt you to fill in your email, you know, all that. I'm just going to go next. Yeah, password. You just sign in. We already created. It's going to ask you what is your territory. Sign up for educational profile. You can see it here. Set up your education profile. Okay. So it's going to ask what is your country, your territory, and all that. Of course, we're in Cameroon. So I'm just going to select Cameroon here. This is Cameroon. Educational role. Of course, we're signing up as a student. So you click here and you select student. Okay. Now, this is very important. It's going to ask you institution type. What kind of institution? Is it a high school or secondary school? You know, and stuff like that. Well, it doesn't really matter which you choose here. Let's just go for university. Date of birth, you can put in your date of birth. Just go and go. I'll just go on and put mine in there. That is January 12th. Okay. Now you next. Okay, and then here now it's asking you the name of the institution. You must put the name of the institution because they need to verify that the institution is actually existing. Okay, so if you were to come here and I start typing university, you'll see that, okay, look, now these are institutions that are currently recognized by Autodesk. As you can see, Kali University of Cameroon. And actually, when you do this, they will carry out a verification to actually be sure that you are part of that institution before they approve your account. Okay, so you can see like Kali University, you can see most of the institutions here in Cameroon. You can see, look, you see, it's a whole University of Bamenda even. You see all this, University of Boya, University of Douala. So if you can't find your school, of course, you can still paste it in here, and maybe with time now, they are going to update the list and they put your own school in there. Okay. And then of course the date and the year that you enroll in there, you put the month, the year, and then the expected date of graduation is very important because you're signing up as a student. When you are done with that now, you click next. Well, presently I'm not a student, so I'm not going to do that. So you can do that on your own, and then you sign up. After you do that now, it's going to take some time for them to actually do the verification. Okay, usually takes like 2 or 3 days. If they confirm your verification, you receive a mail from them. After you receive that mail now, when you sign into your account back here at Autodesk, you are going to be able now to access these softwares as a student. Okay, They'll give you a license which you can access any of these softwares as a student for a period of 1 year. Okay, for a period of 1 year. Now, when you do that now, you are going to be able to have that software with all the capabilities of the software, but you can only use it for 1 year. And you cannot share the software. It's customized to you only. Okay, all right. But if there's anyone in here who is interested in getting the full version of the software, you can contact me after this class. If you are okay with this procedure, you can follow this procedure, and you, at the end of the day, you are going to get a limited version, a student version. And when you log into the software, let me just share my AutoCAD screen now. Excuse me, just a minute. When you log into the software, you are going to have, just a minute, let me just share my screen. Okay, when you log into the software, like presently I'm using the 2018 version, you are going to see Autodesk, AutoCAD, not just 2018, but you see 2018 student version, okay? Yes, student version, yeah, it's always going to be written up there like that. So that is the version that you're going to be using if you successfully go through that procedure. So that is just it on how you can get a free version of AutoCAD from Autodesk. And if you successfully go through that procedure, you'll be able to get that version. It usually takes some time to verify. But if your institution is legit, then of course they're gonna verify that and they get back to you, and you'll be able to access that all their products. Okay. Of course, you still need to go to the site and you download it. Okay, you still need to go there and you download all the software. So I don't know. Is there any questions up to now? Because now we are moving into the software proper. Any question? Okay, if there is no question, then we continue. Okay, I see Achu, your hand is raised. You can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks very much for this great opportunity. Well, my question is, how do we have a school confirm our enrollment if we don't have money to maybe pay our fees there in order to get this unlimited, this limited version of the AutoCAD that you just showed us, please?
No, it is not the school confirming. It's Autodesk actually confirming that that school is existing. It's not the school confirming, because they can't actually get to reach the school. They can't get to reach the individual schools, and they start asking them and all those kind of personal questions like that. It's just for this, for actually the Autodesk to confirm that first that school is legit. Okay, they have their ways that they are going to use now to know whether you are actually also legit, you know, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay, is there any other question? Okay, if there's no other question, then we move to the software directly. Now, presently I am in Autocad, okay? Now, when you run the program, this is the page that actually comes up when you just run the program is this page. This is the start page, okay? Now, if you're running it for the first time, you're not going to have this. These are recent documents that we have been working with. Some are documents that I am using with our current BIM master class that is going on. Okay, so you're just going to find this page, which is here. Now, if anyone is on this page, what I want you to do is to click on this drop down arrow, which is you find here near the template. You can click on start drawing, which I know 99% of us in here, we do this. But no, this is what I want you to, this is what yes, you can use any version for this lesson, okay? You can use any version, but I recommend that you use the version that I'm using so you can really follow up very well. But yeah, 2013, yeah, you can still use 2013, but I'll recommend you use a version that is like above from 2016 upwards, okay? So you don't get lost. but I'll try to be as explicit as possible so you can still understand. That question was coming from Sam. Yeah, you can use 2013. So if you were in an earlier version, I don't think there are a lot of things which might not really look okay with your own version. If you are using like maybe 28, 29, 2010, you know, or maybe even the 2013 that you're talking about, you might not be having the same screen that I'm having now, but for later versions, you should be having them. Another point to note also is you should be using Autocad, Autodesk Autocad, okay? Not Autodesk Autocad LT or Autodesk Autocad Architecture. There's also a difference in all those softwares, okay? The architecture mostly is just for architecture, okay? And it's also kind of limited somehow. But when you have Autodesk AutoCAD, this is the full version of the Autodesk of the AutoCAD, which you can use to do everything. Like for instance, if I was to click on this drop down, now you're going to see that in here, this is where you have your templates, the templates that you start working with. By default, that you see this one is highlighted. If you look very well, you're going to see that there is a little blur highlight option going over. Okay. Sorry for the noise. That's my son. I don't know what he has eaten this morning. So you're going to see that there is a little blur option going over here. So it means if I was to just click on start join, it is going to by default open this. Let me just explain what this means. This is a metric template. A metric template means that, and it is what we are going to be using. We're going to be using this. It means a metric template is like in millimeters, meters, and order, which is our units that we use here in Cameroon. Okay. If you were to start with someone with a template like this, you are going to be working in imperial template. I'm not going to elaborate on that. That is not the purpose of this course. Okay, that is for the more advanced course like for the people who are taking the beam orientation course. We took time and we explained that there very well. So all you need to do is just to click here. You come down here on ACAD ISO, okay, and you click start. Please, if you don't have that, another alternative of doing this is you can come here, you go to new, open, rather. No, wait a minute. Let's just go back out of here. Yeah, no. Just go back. Okay, another alternative is you just click on this start, which you have here, okay? Either you click on the drop down and you select, or you click on the start, join, and it's going to take you in here directly. Okay, so if we are all on the screen here now, you should be able to see the screen that I am on right now. Now, this is the course is AutoCAD Basics. So I'm going to start by introducing you to the interface. By interface, I mean, I'll try as much as possible to explain in detail what all these commands that you see here. I'll explain what they are and where you can use them, okay? So I'll try to be as detailed as possible. So the first thing, this blank space, which you find here, this is called a model space. This is where you're going to be doing your drawings. Whatever thing you want to draw in here, this is where you're going to be drawing. And it's like infinity, okay? You can draw to any dimension, okay? In here is infinite. So this is the model space. Now, up here at the top left, the first button that you find there is called the home button, okay? Now, when you click here, you're going to have a drop down. You have this drop down here. You have a list. From here, you can create a new drawing. If I was to come here and I select new again, it is still going to open me this same page, okay? You can open an existing drawing. If you scroll down here, just hover over it. You don't click hover. From this list, you can open an existing drawing. And if you are working with the internet and you have actually saved some of your drawings on your cloud, you can also open an existing drawing from cloud. Please, this is not really important, okay, for this course. Now you can open an existing drawing, whether it is on your desktop or wherever you have saved it. You click here, you just go to that specified location and you open it. You can save your drawing. If you click on save, it just saves the drawing, okay? But save as enables you to rename the drawing. And of course, you can also specify other things as save as. You just want to save a drawing, or you want to save to the cloud, You want to save as a template. This is for more advanced, okay? It's for more advanced stuff. So it's not really, we will not be covering this. So to save as a join, you just click and it's going to prompt you now. You select the location where you want to save. Like for instance, if I wanted to save this page, if I click here, it's going to open this box. Okay, I want to save this on the desktop. So I just select, I want to save on the desktop. Or I want to select save in documents. Okay, and then you can rename the file in here. Let's just say, we just save this as a interface. Just type in here. And then of course, you can just click on save. Now, if you want to save your file, I'll just, even though this is not part of this course, but I'll just explain these things we are in here. If you want to save your file in such a way that someone who is using an earlier version, I'm working with 2018, but if I wanted to save my file in such a way that someone who is using like 2008 or any other earlier version can access those, because if I save this file now, anyone who is, and I send this, a copy of this file to someone using maybe 2017 or 16, or any version that is not from 2018 upwards, you will not be able to open this file, okay? But in order for you to save it, it doesn't change anything, okay? The only thing you need to do is, when you are in Save As, you click on this drop down. From this list, you are going to see earlier versions of AutoCAD. You see that you can even save right to the version 2000 here even, okay? So if you just came here and you click on maybe here 2000, so anybody that is using a version of AutoCAD from 2000 upwards now will be able to access this file. So it's a very important tool that you should also make sure you exploit when you are saving your documents. Okay, I don't want to save this, so I'm just going to cancel out of there. So up here, let me just go here again. Okay, import. You can import PDFs. You can export your joins again. Still, that is mostly, yeah, you can still export as DWF. This is for internet purposes. You can export as PDF and stuff like as FBX. FBX now is for 3-dimension, really. We're not going to be covering 3-dimension in this course. Then, of course, you have options for publishing, printing, and you know all this. Okay, so up here, just close to the home button, you have this other little commands which are up here. This is what we call the quick access toolbar. Okay, these are a set of commands which have been placed in such a way that these are commands that you frequently use them. Okay, like for instance, if you are working, well, you know us in Cameroon here now, we are in Cameroon, so electricity goes on and off at every time. So it's good that you should have like a save button, which when you're working, you can easily go up and you click save. So you save, you keep saving your work and maybe 5 minutes interval, so that in case you are cut off, not only the electricity part, but sometimes your system freezes, okay? And when that happens, of which you have already done a great deal of work without saving, it's a problem. Even though by default, AutoCAD saves your drawing after every 10 minutes. Okay, there's a way you can customize it to even 5 minutes or 1 minute even, but we'll not cover that here. That's for more advanced studies, okay? But by default, AutoCAD saves whatever you're working on after every 10 minutes, okay? So up here, we have the quick access toolbar. By default, you're going to have new. If you click on new, it's going to create a new sheet, just like this. You click on open, that's the second one. It opens an existing drawing. You click on save, of course, you save your drawing. And if you're clicking the save on the first time, of course, it's going to open this page because this is the first time we are saving this drawing. As a matter of fact, let me just save this. It's okay, drawing 5, okay. Now, if I also click on save again, it just keeps overriding what I have saved already, okay. But if, for instance, you want to do a save as, like you want to change the location where you are saving the drawing, or you want to rename it, you just click on save as, and you see the pop-up will come again, showing you where you have originally saved that drawing, and you can rename it, okay? And then, of course, you have options to plot. Plotting is when you are done with your drawing and you want to print it out, okay? We're going to cover this later. And then you have options for like undo and redo. Like for instance, if I start drawing in here like this, maybe I made a mistake and I came and I hooked this line here. Yeah, you can delete this, or you can just come up here, you undo, and you see, okay, it just wipes off everything. And you can, of course, if you made a mistake again and you undid this, you can redo back now, and you see it comes back up, you know, and stuff like that. Okay, so this is the quick access toolbar. It's just a set of commands which you use very often, okay? They're always populated up here. set of commands which you use very often. They are always up there. Please, somebody's mic is okay. So now, after the quick access toolbar now, of course, you can further customize this quick access toolbar. If there are more commands which you know you use often, you can add them up here, okay? But these are always the most frequently used commands. That is why by default, when you just install AutoCAD, they always come with these commands, okay? Now, I'm just going to go ahead now and I go to the next set of commands which you have here. The first is what you find up here. These are all called tabs, okay? You got the home tab, you got and under each tab, you have a set of commands, okay? You have the home tab, the insert tab, the annotate, parametric, view, manage, output, add-ins, Autodesk 3D, Express tools, you know, featured apps and all that. But you find that you are going to be working with the home tab a lot. It's just like any other software. You discover that the home tab is always made in such a way that you can come in here, you do all your designs, you get out without necessarily going through these other tabs, except need be, okay? Because in the home tab, you have almost all the commands, most of the important commands that you find in these other tabs, okay? So under the home tab, please, if you're using an earlier version, you might discover that your commands are not really displaying the same like what I have here. If you're using an earlier version, okay? So please just try to follow up. Now, under the home tab, you have a set of commands which are further grouped into what we call ribbons, okay? Like for instance, this is the draw ribbon, and under the draw ribbon, you have the line, the line command, the polyline, the circle, the arc, you know, and of course, you also have the rectangle, center, you know, the hatching and all that. That's under the draw command. It doesn't end it. Again, these have been put like this because these are the most commonly used commands under the draw command, okay? If I was to hover over this draw and I click on this drop down arrow, you'll see that you have more commands here, okay? These are more commands which you can still use under draw. And you come here again, you see you still have more commands which are still under this one. So these are commands which are still useful, but of course you rarely use them. But if you need to use them, this is how you access them, okay? But these are the ones that you are going to be using very often. So to go back up, you just click back up, you click on the draw again, it collapses the list. So under the draw ribbon, you have all this set of commands, which of course you will really be using most often because in our course, we are working within 2 dimensions. So we will mostly be using the line commands a lot, okay? Now, after that, we have the Modifier Ribbon. The Modifier Ribbon have tools that you can use to modify your design, okay? I'm just gonna go ahead and I draw something in here so I can be displaying that practically, okay? Now, if I wanted to move this design, okay, the first thing to do is to select it, please. Even if you can't, I'm gonna be very explicit, okay? So I'm just gonna select this and I come here to move. If I click here, you can select anywhere on the design now. I'm clicking, I'm left clicking, okay? And you just move. You can move the design now around like this. And this is because of the move command. I'm just gonna press the escape key. The copy command helps you to copy objects, okay? If I wanted to create a copy of this, I select this, I come to copy, and I can pick an edge. You can create now as many copies as possible of this, okay? So that is the copy command. Rotate command, stretch command, of course, from the name, you can use this to stretch the design. I will not really be doing this. It's gonna take a lot of time. Rotate, you use this to rotate your design too. Just from the name, you can use it to rotate. We're going to see this very well when we're carrying out practical exercises. You can use it to rotate to any angle. And you can further define the rotation angle by, when you select any command, you are going to see that there's a little highlight. It shows here specify rotation angle. If you can see that very well. Also click on the drop down. Yes, it's asking you, what is the rotation angle? If I wanted to rotate this through 90 degrees, I just type 90 and I press enter, it rotates to 90 degrees. That is for more advanced studies. I'm just briefing on that. Of course, you can trim, fillet, array. Array is just like copy. but it copies, you specify the distance between the intervals, okay, and the number of components which you want to be copied, and it copies in an orderly manner, not in a ramshackle manner like this, like what I'm just from doing, okay. And then, of course, you have erase. Erase is there to erase. Wipe off is just like the delete. Explode. Explode is there to explode your design. What do I mean by explode? Presently, this is exploded, okay? But if I had a rectangle in here, this is made out of a polyline. You're seeing that if I want to select this, it's highlighting everything. But what if I wanted to work just with this line, okay? Now, what you do have to do is you select, you explode this, and then now you see you can select the individual line. So that's the function of explode. Offset, we'll be using offset a lot. Offset just helps you to create a copy of a line in a very orderly manner. Like for instance, if I wanted to copy this, say in by maybe 15 centimeters, so I just press offset and I type 15, okay, and I offset this, and that has been offsetted in by 15 centimeters. We're going to be seeing that. Of course, these are not all the tools for Modify. You have more tools here, which you can click on the drop down. You see the list goes on, okay? But these are tools that are not really used very often. That is why you find them there. Up here, these are the tools which you are really going to be using often, except you need to come in here now for some reason to really come and you use these other tools, okay? The annotation ribbon is a ribbon that you use to add text and dimensions in your design, okay? Like for instance, if I wanted to put a text in here, like to rename this, say maybe this is maybe a floor plan, you can click on the drop down, you select a line text, and yeah, we just want to type. So you just type, yeah, I'm just going to type floor in there, press enter twice, and you see you have a text in there. So that is for text. If you wanted a multi-line text is not a single line text in the sense that you can put in a large variety of text and it goes in a line. If I was to continue, it just continues like that. And when it reaches the extent of which you drew the outline, it's going to stop there. Please, you're going to see that I'm just introducing the commands, okay? We're not yet working with them. Dimensioning is to dimension your design. The first one here is called a smart dimension. All you need to do is just to click there, you hover over it, look here. You see that it's already giving the dimension of this without you actually taking it. So it's smart, okay? But you rarely use this. So I will show you how you can use, you always be using the linear dimension, and you are going to use it mixed with the continuous dimension, which I'm going to be showing you. So to dimension linearly, you just click here, you click where you want to dimension. If you wanted to dimension the length of this, you click from here to here and you screw up. Now it's small, but this is because we have not yet customized this, okay? We have not yet set this up really to appear well, but you get the point, okay? So this is, you use the annotation command, yes, to dimension too. And you can put leaders. Leaders are just options which you can put to maybe further explain what a specific part of a design is talking about. It prints out an arrow like what you see here from the highlight. It brings out an arrow and you can actually do some, explanation. You can also put in tables under the annotation, and of course you can further customize your text also under when you click the drop down. But this is for most of the advanced users, okay? Now for layers. Layers is what a lot of people are not really familiar with as far as AutoCAD is concerned. They always just work with the default layers, which is always up here, okay? But for layers, it helps you to be able to produce your design and in different layers. For instance, you can decide that if I'm working with a floor plan, I want that my doors should be of a different color, my windows should be of a different color, not just a different color, but a different layer. Why is that happening? You can bear with me that for those of you who are familiar with this software, when you leave from 2 dimensions and maybe you want to start doing a 3 dimensions in AutoCAD, you have to get rid of the doors and the windows because at that point they are not important, okay? Now, a lot of people will have to go in there and you start deleting, but if you set up your layers very well, in like you said, the different layers of doors, set the different layers of windows, at that point you just freeze them, okay? It's not like you're deleting them, but you just freeze them and they disappear from the design, giving you a clean space for you to work only with your walls, okay? So all those kind of things, they come into play when you have layers, a good mastery of what layers is all about. and you set different layers for your doors, your windows, your furniture, your dimensions, your text, your notes, all that, you set them in different layers. And whenever you are working with a specific layer, you make sure that it is the layer that is active. Like for instance, if I wanted to draw my walls and I have come in here and I've set my layers and I have a layers of wall, I'm going to make sure that the layer that is active is the wall layer, okay? Is the wall layer that is active. Of course, you can easily select from up here. For now, we don't have any layers up here because we've not set any. We're going to look at that when we are doing a practical design. Okay, so that is just it for layers. And then of course we have blocks here. You can insert blocks, create. We're going to look at this. Most of these properties too, where you set your layers, they're going to reflect here. So the properties panel is just to show you like the layer type, the line width, and the type of line, if you are using calibrated lines or thick lines, you know, and all that. Yes, we're also going to see this. And of course, we're also going to be looking at groups. Groups, it just helps you to group objects together. Okay, maybe objects of a similar attribute, you can group them together. For utilities, you use utilities mostly to measure. Like you can decide to measure the length of this. You're not dimensioning, you're measuring. And of course, it gives you the distance. You can decide to calculate the surface area of this floor here. You don't need to be calculating that manually. You just click on this drop down. You're going to see there is an option, the area. If you were to click there and you draw a box in here like this, you specify the outline of where you want to calculate the surface area. And when you are here, you just press enter. You're going to see that it gives you the surface area and the perimeter around, you know, and all that. So that is it for utilities. You can use that to calculate the surface area and maybe the distance and maybe volume. You can see you have volume, radius, angle, and all that also. And then this is your clipboard. When you copy anything, it is always copied to the clipboard. So instead of pasting manually, you can always just come here and you paste. When you click on paste, it's going to paste it, and you can paste as hyperlink, paste as block, but for this purpose, you just need to understand just paste, okay? And of course, we have this is mostly for the advanced users. You rarely use this. Okay, now how do I hide this? Okay, just a minute. I need to collapse this. Okay, all right. So that is it for the home tab. And of course, we've looked at all the ribbons. I think I have really tried to be as explicit as possible to explain them one after the other. Okay, I've really tried to be as explicit as possible. And we also have the insert tab. We also have the insert tab, the annotate tab, and all that. But please, we are going to be looking at this now when we are working. If we need to come into the insert or the annotate, I'm not going to be covering this now because it's going to take forever, please. If we need to come in here, we'll come in here, but most of our commands are already in here. And I'm going to show you shortcuts, which you'll be using with your keyboard, because you are mostly going to be working with your keyboard and your mouse as far as this orientation is concerned. So there are most of the commands which you can type, or you can just give shortcut keys for the commands to come up, okay? We're going to be looking at that. Now, coming here on the right-hand side, this is what we call the view cube, okay? Now, this view cube enables you to be able to see your design in different views. You can see the south, which is the front view, the north is the back view, the west is the left view, and the east is the right view. Now, this cube is not really necessary for 2-dimension, but for 3-dimension is very necessary because you use it to flip the design around, okay? Since this orientation is for 2-dimension only, we're not going to be using this. You can come down here, you have a wheel. If I was to click here, you're going to see that this wheel will come out. You can use this wheel to zoom in, zoom out. You can use it to orbit, you can use it to pan. I don't really recommend you using this because it might get a little bit confusing. But if you see this necessary, you can still be using it. I don't use this. I don't use this at all. Yeah, because of course, if I was to zoom in, you have your mouse, right? You have the left click, you have the right click. So if you want to zoom in, the middle mouse button is meant for that. So if you screw in on this middle mouse button, you zoom in, you screw out, you zoom out. So why would you need to, you need a command like this? Except maybe your mouse is bad or somehow, and you need to like maybe do this manually. The next option is pan. If you click here, yes, you can pan the design, but I don't also use that. What I do is click and hold your middle mouse button and you'll be able to pan the design. Okay, so you don't necessarily need to be coming to this command. You click, you hold your middle mouse button, you can pan the design, which means you can shift it like this. Okay. And then of course, the next option here, we have zoom extends. Zoom extends means it is zooming to the extent of all the designs that you have on the model space there. Okay. But then again, this command is also rarely used by me. I recommend that you just double click your middle mouse button. It also zooms to extend. Okay. Just double click on the middle mouse button. It zooms to extend. So that is a shortcut too for that command. So you see, you're using just your mouse, but you're carrying out most of the command. You don't necessarily have to be clicking them, but you're using just your mouse and you're able to carry out most of the commands in here. The next is orbiting. Well, this is for 3 dimensions. You can't orbit anything here. These 2 last commands here are for 3 dimensions only. Okay. So we are done with this. The next and very important that I want us to look at is down here now. Okay. Down here, this is what we call the status bar. This is the status bar at the bottom here. This bar is very important too, okay? The first part you see here is the model. You're always going to be working in the model tab. You see, you're in the model tab. This is where you do your. The next is the layout. Now, in layout, this is where you can actually set out your designs in a professional way to print them out by using what we call a title block, okay? So, well, I will briefly cover these two and try to show you how you can do that so that you don't always need to be plotting your designs one after the other to print. If you know how to work with this, then you'll be able to print your designs out very fast and also professionally, okay? Then coming this way now, I would like to start from right to left, please. You see there are some 3 lines there which shows customization, okay? Now, if you click there, you're going to see this drop down that will appear here. Okay, please just excuse me for a minute. I need to reply this. Okay, so if you click there, you are going to see this drop down appear. Now, presently, all the options that are ticked here, okay, these are the options that are appearing here. So if you were to untick anything by default, you see that there are some options here that are ticked, and these options are ticked because these are the most commonly used commands. Okay, these are the most commonly used commands in here. That is why you find them ticked. Like you see model space. You see, I go back there again. Excuse me. Okay, model space, grid line, snap. Okay, auto mode, polar tracking, isometric. You know all these. You see that they are ticked. Now, if I was to put a tick on like a dynamic input, you see that one has appeared here. Let me remove that again. You see it has gone off. It is in. Here is it. It is off. It is in. So if you find that there's any command in here which you think is useful for you, you can also put them in there. You also have commands of quick properties and all that. So briefly, that's just it for this first command. It just helps you to be able to populate this list or you reduce it. For the next command is just, you see, it shows here clean screen. What clean screen does is it just switch the design to full screen. Okay, it switch the design to full screen or back. If I was to click here, you see now, maybe you want to view the design. I don't know why you need to do this, or maybe you just want to view it and you see it very well. Then you are going to click on the full screen. And of course, to go back, you just click back there and it goes back. Or what happens is the full screen displays just the designs in the model space while hiding all the commands that you have. Okay, this enables you to have a clearer view of the design. Go to click back out, you see it goes back out. Okay, and yeah, hardware acceleration. Please, if you are using a system that is not really powerful, like in terms of memory and graphics, this is always going to be turned off by default. Mine is turned on because, yeah, of course, the system I have is a very good system. So that is why it's turned on. By default, any of these softwares, when they come in, they are going to, you see a message displaying that your hardware acceleration has been turned off to improve performance, of course. Now, this doesn't really help a lot. Of course, it gives a better view and presentation, especially when you are working with three-dimensional models. But it also consumes a lot of system memory. So if you have a system that is not really high in memory, maybe you have a system that runs maybe 4 gigabytes and you don't really have a powerful graphic card, it's not recommended to turn this. It's not even going to turn on even. Yeah, it will not turn on because the minimum requirements for that system for it to be turned on is not there. But it doesn't mean it affects you in any way. No, it doesn't affect in any way. So that is always there too. Isolating objects, well, we're going to be looking at this. You can isolate or hide some objects on screen, okay? On screen, we're going to look at that when we are designing. Annotation monitor. Well, this annotation monitor also, we're going to be looking at that. Now, this is what I want you to look at. You come here to workspace switching. If you click on this drop down here, you're going to see that presently what is ticked there is drafting and annotation, okay? Drafting and annotation is two-dimensional design only. But if you wanted to switch to a 3D model space and you do your designer in 3D, you can come in here now and switch to maybe 3D basics or 3D modeling. Okay, any of these two will take you to the 3D. Now, since this our tutorial is only on 2 dimensions, we're only going to be working with the drafting and annotation bar. Okay, we're not going to be looking at these other 2 commands which we have here. Yes, maybe for a later time after we're done with this, I can also set up a separate program where we'll look at 3 dimension, you know, and stuff like that. But for now, we are going to be working with the drafting and annotation, which is 2-dimensional workspace. Okay. Okay. Now, of course, the next is the scale. Don't bother about this. By default, it's always set to 1:1, but you don't really need to bother about that because, of course, yeah, you mostly be working in 1:1, except you need to do other customizations like importing a design from a different software, and you need to scale it up. Then you need to really know how to work with this. We are not going to be covering that here in this our basic course. Okay, that is for more advanced courses. Show annotation objects, and okay, this is the next point which I want you to also pay a lot of focus on, where you have the snapping. Okay, I think to demonstrate this very well, I'm going to put up 3 objects on screen. I'm going to put a line like this. The next, I'll put a circle, and you see I put a line by just coming here to the line command, and I'm drawing a line. The circle, I took the circle command and I drew a circle. I want a rectangle too, so I just put a rectangle command and I draw a rectangle like this. I'm just gonna move this to come in a little bit close. Okay, so if you were to click on this drop down arrow, what will you notice? You're going to notice that there are a set of commands in here which are ticked and some are not. Okay, any command that is ticked, it means that whenever you are designing, you are going to snap to that point. What do I mean? Presently, I have a line on screen here. If you look here, you are going to see that endpoint is ticked. Okay, you can see from a preview there. What that helps you is, if I was to click on a line and I come here, when I snap to the endpoint of this, you are going to see that when I go to the endpoint of this, you are going to see that it snaps there. Okay, watch what happens if this is not ticked. Now I take my line again. Look at this. It doesn't snap. You are going to be trying to do this manually, but believe me, you are never going to be accurate as to if you have that snapping turned on. Okay, you find it very difficult trying to do this manually. You can zoom in as much as you want, but it is not going to be accurate. Okay, so always make sure that the endpoint is on. That is for the case where you are working with lines. But now let's say you're working with a circle and you wanted to start doing something at the exact center of this circle. But if I wanted to draw this line here, there's nothing happening here. Okay. Okay, when I turn around, something appears there by default. But in order to make it very easy in such a way that when you just come here, it snaps in there directly, what you need to do is you have to be sure that, oh no, wait, it's already active. Let me instead check that out. Okay, look at this. Let me check that out. Okay, now it doesn't snap. It's not snapping. No matter how much I try to do whatever I'm doing in there, it is not snapping to the center. You see this? So it is really a problem for me to actually know where the center of this circle is. But if you were to turn on this command here, where you have center, and you come here now, you see it just snaps to the center and you can draw your line, or you can put your text or whatever it is you want to snap in there. Okay. The next point that we are going to be looking at is midpoint. You bear with me that there are times where you want to just have the midpoint of this line without accurately measuring. But if you were to come here, yeah, it snaps at the start, but you can't really tell where the midpoint is. Okay. But there's actually a command which can help you to snap at any line as far as the line is maybe the length or the width or even perpendicular like this, it snaps to the center. So you need to turn on this command, which is midpoint here. And when you do that now, look at what is happening. Whenever I come to any midpoint, it snaps there. Not only there, look at this, even on this rectangle, it's snapping. As you see, it snaps automatically to the midpoint. You can see that there. This helps to save a lot of time, you know, yeah, and stuff like that. So that is because that command is turned on. Okay, of course, there are some commands in here which you are not really going to be using. You also have geometric center, yeah, node and all that. Those are rarely used commands, mostly used by advanced. Okay, let me just tell you about quadrant. Quadrant is also like, for instance, if you want to draw something around this circle, you see that it's difficult to snap at the edges. But if quadrant was turned on, you see it's easy now. Whenever it gets to the edge of a circle, exactly at the edge, it snaps there. As you can see on the screen, you see how it's snapping, very easy. So this can also help you. Yeah, intersection, perpendicular tangent. All right, I think those are really the important components. Okay, we also have extension. Let me just show you what extension is. Let me uncheck this first, and then I draw a line. I think extension is also important. We'll also be using this. Okay, let's say I drew this line like this. Okay, then I want to continue drawing the line. Oh, let me just say I drew it like this. I want to continue drawing this line, but in a straight line. Look at this. Okay, it's difficult for me to tell that this is a straight line again. If I was to start drawing like this, it's difficult, but if I had extension on and I try drawing that same line again, look at this. There's a calibrated blue line that appears trying to guide you to say that, okay, no, this line is now in a straight line, and it helps you to bring out a perfect straight line like you see here. Okay, so you can also want to turn extension on. So I'm just going to allow this open so you can just set your design to be like this. There are some of the commands which you rarely use. There are some of them in here which I've never used even. But if you find it necessary, you can always get in here, and using the knowledge that I have given you already, you try to like experiment with them, and you also see what most of them they do, you know, and stuff like that, and you see if it's going to be useful for you. I'm just showing you the most important commands. Okay. All right. The next thing we are going to be looking at is to display the grid line. If you look at the screen very well, you are going to see that there is a set of grid lines behind. It's just like an arithmetic sheet or a graph sheet. You see, it's calibrated. Some people find this very useful because it actually guides you to be able to design very well. Why some people find it too, they don't like it. They just like this in their workspace. So for you to be able to get rid of that, you just come down here and you click and it goes off. Okay, I don't really bother if it is on or off, but I prefer it to be on because sometimes it also guides you to be able to position your design or your drawing, and you're sure that you're actually maybe it guides you, okay, to position your design maybe in the length, maybe in the y-axis or the x-axis, you know. Yes, you can easily just do that. But whether you turn it on or off, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it all depends on you, but I like to leave it on. Yeah, I just like to leave it on for me. So okay, I think basically that is it as far as the commands are concerned. And what we are going to be doing now is, first of all, let me take some questions. We're already out of time, but let me just take some few questions, and then I will show you now how you can set your units first so that you can start your design. And when we continue tomorrow now, we're going to be looking at how you can go ahead now with a practical design. Okay, we'll take a practical design and we'll start from scratch, and I try to walk you through it now using these commands which I have been introducing and you know, walking you through. So please, if you have a question now, you can unmute your mic and you ask your question. So I'm just going to stop the recording here since we're already done with this.